What up? It's your man, Ole Man Winter, back once again with another episode of No Holds Barred. And we here talking about your boy, Katt Williams. He's lighting the internet on fire. He done came out talking mad trash about all the other comedians in the game. Basically, the kings of comedy, Kevin Hart's punk self, um, Ricky Smiley, just a whole slew of anybody that he ever had an issue with. He talks about the big lady that he got into it with them couple of years ago on the radio. Faison Love, just a whole list of guys. He came straight to Shannon Sharp's platform, Club Shay Shay, where he just said he was gonna address all his enemies or haters or whatever you want to call it, all the people that's been coming on Shannon Sharp's program, talking trash about him. So we say it's his turn. And, like I always say, it ain't no fun when the rabbit has a gun. And this is truly very true with what Katt Williams has done to these guys. He's completely eviscerated his competition. To me, it's almost like a 3 hour stand up special for the man. He goes dead in, still funny, roasting all of them, getting down on them, exposing the truth, and it's just it's just good for the people to see this. One thing that Cat was hitting on that was a reoccurring theme for him was the fact that what's wrong with, and I agree with this, what's wrong with the fact that he's in competition with these guys? It's nothing wrong with rivalries and competitions. He was comparing his situation to Shannon Sharp's as far as being an athlete. Shannon Sharp is comes from a competitive world. And yeah, I don't like the other team over there. If I'm on the Broncos, I don't like the Cowboys or the Seahawks or whoever is across the field from me. So he's saying like it's not a weird thing or something unusual or something that's just way out the way just because he don't get along with these people. And he's basically saying we don't have to get along. These people are my competition. In his opinion, those people are his competition. And he's not there to play with them. He's there to go in on them. And that's exactly what he did. He feels like a lot of these guys are Illuminati and plants and this, that, and the third. And I can't disagree with him. I don't live in Hollywood. I'm not in the Hollywood world, so I can't say that what he's saying isn't true. But I lean towards believing what he's saying because everything he's saying, a lot of the stuff he's bringing receipts to. He seems genuine with whatever he's saying. I know they always used to come with one of the things that I really dislike was him constantly telling people that he doesn't take any type of drugs. He said this for emphatically for years. And every time one of these clowns, this is why I don't like all the people he named out, Michael Blackson and all these other people. I don't like them neither, just on the strength that they will come and say that this man is a drug addict when he tells you he's never taken a drug in his life. If I'm constantly telling you I don't take drugs and this, that, and the third, and you've never seen this man take drugs, you can't prove he takes drugs. At what point does this become slander that you're saying that I'm a drug addict, but you can't prove that I've taken any type of drugs? That's just a tactic to slander this man and try to make him look bad. Instead of just fighting him head up and head on, the way he addresses them about realistic, real life things, they come and make up stories. That's how you know who's probably the superior comedian amongst these people. If he can just hit y'all with reality and what's real, and they have to make up, well, he's a drug addict, so he should be dismissed with everything he's saying. And he knows the drug addicts are looked at as inferior people in our society for some reason. So they feel like they can dismiss him as just being a drug addict and they can go on about their business without really addressing what's really going on behind the scenes. So this is just little bullcrap tactics that a lot of these guys like to use just to deflect from what's really going on. Because Katt Williams does make a lot of points. Why are people making whole documentaries with a bunch of fake history in it, like he said? Um, I think he said the Fat Tuesdays or something like that. And he said all the people that they were naming, which are famous comedians and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe they embellished the documentary to make it seem more exciting, but it would seem weird to put people that never showed up or performed at this place for the Fat Tuesdays to say that they performed at um they performed there. And he's saying this emphatically, like, no, they never performed there. He knew the whole history. He said where Tiffany Haddish was known to perform at. Cedric and Steve Harvey never performed there. I think he said when he talked about Kevin Hart, he said his whole history is on the East Coast, but he put out a documentary. No, he put out a documentary saying his history is from the East Coast, but he's telling everybody he got his chops on the West Coast. So how can you be in two places at the same time? It's just a lot of inconsistent, weird stuff that's going on with people rewriting their own narratives and their history. And it does make you look like a plant or Illuminati or whatever you want to call it about these people. You know, he went in on Ricky Smiley about the about the Friday roll, about the Money Mike and Ricky Smiley being the Santa Claus. And I wholeheartedly believe him on most of that stuff about from his perspective, at least I'm gonna say. I believe him. Now I've seen Ricky Smiley's response and I've seen Ice Cube's response. And Katt Williams was right on that from his perspective because he can't know everybody else's what everybody else had going on prior to him getting that role of what their situation was or what happened behind closed doors with them. So I do believe that Ricky Smiley was off that role. Ice Cube confirmed that Ricky Smiley did read for that role, but which is something that Katt Williams, you know what I'm saying, they ain't everywhere at all times, so he probably didn't know that. So he thought that Ricky Smiley was just on there straight wilding in line or whatever. But um Ice Cube confirmed that, you know, when Williams came in there, he basically blew it out the park, and you know what I'm saying, that meant that they were gonna go in a different direction and Ricky Smiley no longer was in a competition for that role, and they switched him to the Santa Claus role, which was already which was already written in the script. So it's just like a matter of perspective on that situation. Now, I feel like from one perspective, when I watched the Ricky Smiley part, Ricky Smiley kind of, and even Katt Williams, when I watched the whole 3 hour thing, he even mentioned this man's son dying. So Katt Williams was aware, and he still went in on the man, which I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Ricky Smiley don't seem like a asshole like type guy. But I've also seen that Ricky Smiley has had a lot of beefs with a lot of comedians over the years. So behind the scenes, he might really do be an asshole. And from what Katt Williams was saying, it sounds like he's probably behind the scenes an asshole because Katt Williams kept saying that Ricky Smiley during it back then during the taping, he was constantly whining about how the Money Micro was supposed to be his and how his family ain't gonna know who he is behind a Santa Claus suit and all of that. Which honestly and truly, he's right. I had to see that movie like 2, 3 times, squint my eyes and everything to see that that's Ricky Smiley in that role. I didn't really know for sure that that was Ricky Smiley in that role. So I understand why he was whining because Money Mike role was a much better role than a Ricky Smiley role. And Ice Cube tried to make it seem like, you know, to just try to even it out and diffuse and make it seem like that the roles was equal and comparable when Ice Cube gave his little commentary, but no, they weren't. Money Mike role was way bigger than the Santa Claus role. And I don't even remember the Santa Claus. I know Ricky Smiley was saying he read his lines, but I don't even remember that character even talking. So you know that that character was nowhere near on the level of the Money Mike character, and it might even play into the fact that Katt Williams was constantly saying that Ricky Smiley can't act, and he always get cut out all the movies that he get put in, which allegedly he been in a lot of movies, but I don't know no movies he actually been in. So he might have played in a lot of movies, got paid, and got cut out, like they say happens to a lot of these guys or whatever. So and even Ricky Smiley said he was in a couple of Ice Cube movies, which I don't remember him in any of them other than Friday After Next. So it might be some validity to Ricky Smiley not being that good of an actor, and him always getting cut out the roles or whatever, and him not being able to cut the snuff or whatever. But like I was saying before, talking about his son passing away, I don't think Katt Williams. Well, if Ricky Smiley is an asshole, that's a little tit for tat. You know what I'm saying? He'll know the man more personally than to know if it's a line to be crossed to give this man a little space because of that or a little grace. But Ricky Smiley did even bring it up on his stuff, and he claimed he wasn't saying it for sympathy. But my thing is this, I've never known Ricky Smiley to go in on Cat or nothing like that. But was anybody having Ricky Smiley bringing up he has family and this stuff is embarrassing his family and stuff like that? But who was feeling that way? My point is this: who was feeling that way, even though condolences to Ricky Smiley for his loss of, I believe he said his son last year. At this time, he was going heavily through depression. I hope he comes up out of that. But who had the sympathy and who was stepping up to say, give Cat grace and have sympathy on him when everybody was running around, when he was having issues and everybody was running around saying he's a drug addict behind it or opening their mouth in any type of way negatively about this man? Was Ricky Smiley stepping up, even if Ricky Smiley wasn't a participant? Was he stepping up to say, nah, that we shouldn't be going in, we shouldn't be judgmental, we shouldn't be? No. And all his buddies was part of the power loan on the stuff. So it's a, like I say, it's a thin line with the Ricky Smiley stuff. But if Ricky Smiley is really a trash bag behind the scenes, then hey, it's all fair in love and war. Now, Katt Williams did a lot of exposing. He tripped out your boy Steve Harvey, that famous haircut that looked like it didn't go nowhere. I guess we all know why. That looked super crisp. I guess we all know why the man was exposed. This man had a whole hairpiece all them years or whatever. I guess once they finally put him on, because they got even pictures of him before he had the hairpiece with the bald spot in the back and shit and stuff. So yes, Katt Williams did a lot of exposing. He went from one side of the earth to the other. He even went in on my boy Ludacris. I don't believe Ludacris. Katt Williams just get letting everybody catch straight bullets, and he still had to be funny in there and this and that. So some of the stuff that I believe he embellished on was just his comedy part thrown in there too. You know what I'm saying? Because we know ain't no damn. They was at an Illuminati party and they both were there at the same time, and one of them could be Illuminati and one of them can't. So is Cat trying to tell us that he was willing to be Illuminati and they chose he was in the running, but they chose Ludacris over him, but he wanted to be part of the Illuminati? That's going against his narrative. You know what I'm saying? So Cat, had to just throw bull crap up in there. Everything wasn't just, ain't nobody's mouth a prayer book. But most of what he was saying was on hit. A lot of the stuff is provable. The famous thing, and one of the things that's one of my biggest things about the whole situation was the Cedric the Entertainer thing. I really have no respect for Cedric the Entertainer at this point, and he should have been really getting exposed on this stuff a long time ago because being a joke thief is a death sentence in the world of comedy. And he should have been put on super blast a long time ago. If he's to this level of a joke thief that he's being exposed as. And Katt show, and they done pulled up so many receipts over the internet now of Katt's closing routine of his shtick, of what do they call, of his set. His closer of his set was that the car thing, you know what I'm saying, where he's pretending like he's in a fake car riding around and going through all the antics of all the real life stuff you'd be doing if you was really in a car. This was Katt's original joke that he made up, and he even says Mark Curry helped him curate that joke to make it even better. And we all seen the Kings of Comedy, you know what I'm saying, more than once. This man said stole his entire joke, start to finish. The only thing he did was make it a spaceship. And Katt Williams, like he said, the son of a bee came out there and seen him do his set. So you know he knew you did it, and you know that's where he got it from because you was there, you physically seen me do it. And now come Kings of Comedy, you know what I'm saying? You out here doing the same thing. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff is like, you know, you like Katt kept on saying, like you can't be talking about a natural athlete and comparing them to one that's been exposed as being on the juice. You got an asterisk against your record. And being a joke thief is equivalent to being on the juice. So that means that knocked you out of being a king of anything, Cedric the Entertainer. And out of all of them, I think he was the most deserving of the smoke. And Cedric trying to come off and make a reply, trying to act like it's all good, trying to play some things, play some stuff off. The only thing he could have did and should have did as a man to regain any type of dignity would have been to just flat out just admit it. The proof is in the pudding. But then he telling other people when they trying to expose him to, they didn't just pulled out super receipts on his ass. All the timelines don't add up. The timelines add up like a mug. This man stole this man joke from pillar to post. It's almost the exact same thing. Like Katt said himself, all he did was change it to a spaceship. And he did that just so somebody could try to say, well, I didn't steal the whole thing or something like that. That's the only thing. That's like taking a meal somebody cooked, sprinkle a little salt on it, and then say, you know what I'm saying, you made it. Or try to pawn it off like you the one cooked the meal. Come on now, you did that. That is what it is. Um, he just went in on so many, you know, again, like I say, Kevin Hart being the industry plant tripped out, Steve Harvey on his headpiece. Um, Faison Love, he just, you know, busted, tripped him out a couple little times. Talked about the lady again. Um, There's just so many people, you know. Everybody caught a straight bullet in that 3 hour joint. You know what I'm saying? So it is. Oh, Michael Blackson, he went in on him talking about the man had a dirty Doc Shiki on, and he told him, you know, swag, you know, step his swag up. You know what I'm saying? Step his game up and stop wearing them dirty Doc Shikis and go something about go build a school in Africa or something. I don't know nothing about that part, but yeah, Katt just went in, you know. Uh, I was a little disappointed in him a couple of years ago. It looked like he was trying to, you know, conform, which he may still be. I don't know, you know, but right now it's looking like Katt might be back. You know, every couple of years he come back. He's a guy that's um he tries to conform, it seems like, so he can, you know, get on or whatever, and you know they'll stop bothering him. But he's such one of them guys that like to bug up every once in a while. Sometimes it just boils over to where he can't contain himself. He'll try to sit back and be quiet and be cool and be humble, so he can sit back and get his paper and not be blackballed and excommunicated and stuff and get back in. But then it just gets to the point where him, similar to Kanye, like Kanye tried to do the same thing. Um, he tried to go off and censor himself and stuff like that. But his personality is just so much that he can't contain himself. You know, even if he tries, you know, even when he goes out of his way to try, he can't contain himself. And it's the same thing with Katt Williams. Katt Williams tries to go out of his way to contain himself so he can, get his role off or whatever. So his career won't be hurt, so he won't be blackballed, so he can, do his thing or whatever, which, I don't knock. To a certain extent, I don't knock, just as long as you ain't compromising your principles. But like I say, every so often he can't contain himself and he just explodes and he has one of these, one of these tirades that he goes on. But I think this might be the first time he went like on a big platform and did normally he'll like upload a little video or something like that, and it won't be no super long just session of him going in on people. But this go round, it was, and it was actually some interesting revelations about him as well. Katt Williams, he is an unusual guy, and I believe like he grew up in the cult, the Jehovah Witnesses, which I categorize as a cult, and they're just like the Church of Scientology, which I've studied extensively. And they are, those two organizations are almost the way their cult like systems uh, interact are almost interchangeable. So you can talk about the Jehovah Witnesses if you have the knowledge of cults and knowledge of the Church of Scientology in particular. It's very interesting that he came up as a Jehovah Witness or from a Jehovah Witness background, and I kind of understand the why he is the way he is, because Katt Williams is very intense, especially for being like a comedian that's supposed to be funny. Like he'll say, "Yeah, I laugh and joke all day and all that stuff," but you could tell he's like a real like serious guy, and he don't like he's a little socially awkward, to say the least or whatever. Kind of like another famous person, which Katt Williams talks about, incorrectly and erroneously, but he talks about, which is Michael Jackson, who was a Jehovah Witness too. Um, and like I look at them like on the same spectrum, personality wise, as far as like the awkward weirdness of the person. Like, yeah, Cat is funny, and I'm pretty sure he can interact with people and ha ha and stuff. But just when he's sitting there talking, like he seems like he is a little intense, and he processes things differently. He's supposed to be like a alleged genius and all of that stuff. Um, I don't know how much that would factor in the way he is, but I know that Jehovah, that cult like background can greatly affect a person's psyche throughout the rest of their life. As far as the way they take things, being offended by certain things, this, that, third. Not to say Katt Williams isn't right to be offended by the things that's coming across his plate, but it's just interesting his background and it just answers a lot of questions for me um, from the way his personality is. But I ain't gonna beat y'all ears drum up all night or day or whatever time it is for you about this. It's your man, Ole Man Winter, signing out. Peace.